Hey, welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. And we're privileged to have the next guest on the show, probably the most respected sports guy we've ever had on here. And we appreciate him doing it. He's got a new book out, and he's the former World Series champion, manager of the Oakland A's and the St. Louis Cardinals. Please welcome to the show the great Tony La Russa. What's up, Tone?
All right, well, it's quite an introduction, man. I can't live up to it.
Well, you did already. The good thing is you already lived up to it because everything was true, so you could just relax. It's fine.
I'm here at San Francisco. Just watched the Dominican pull off the World Baseball Classic Championship, and I was really entertained by this classic. I mean, the heart and soul of these teams playing for their countries, it was very entertaining.
Now, I was going to say, are you a guy who you're for this, even though some of these guys might get injured and stuff? I mean, if you were still managing, would you want some of your star players playing in this?
Oh man, that's a really good question, because the first two times it happened, I was managing, and I was full of what's the word, consternation.
Of course, yeah.
But the biggest reason was, and MLB has taken an important step to help that, it was that, if you come to spring training, you gauge yourself mentally and physically to play a serious competitive game the 1st of April.
Right.
And this classic meant that you were doing that in the first week or so of March. And if you kept playing about 10 days into it, you know what I mean? And if you start asking your body and your mind to get serious before it's ready, bad things happen, especially the pitchers. And so what happened was that recognizing that this year they started camp earlier, and I really think it helps the quality of the play. Plus, it helped managers and general managers and owners feel more comfortable that guys could do it without getting hurt.
Yeah. So now, so even if they do this every year, you think it'll be fine?
Well, next time it's a 4-year deal, so
right.
They won't do it for 4 years, and I think they'll even tweak it some more. But I was in Arizona for one round. I went to Miami for the next round. I got here for the finals, and I'm telling you, man, and I saw some what do you call it, highlights of other places. You cannot fake the enthusiasm that these teams, when they won a game or advanced playing for their country, I mean, they were really excited, and that is so much fun to observe as a fan that there was the thing really caught on. And in fact, I saw in Miami, man, there was 35,000 people there when U.S. played Puerto Rico and Dominican played Puerto Rico, and it was going nuts. So I think it's here to stay. It's going to get better and better.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Okay, let me take you back now. Let me take you to 1989 World Series. Okay, you won the first 2 games in Oakland, and it looks like with that team you'd lost a heartbreaker the year before in '88 to the Dodgers. And that '89 team just beating everybody. It looks like you're going to win. And then in Game 3 in San Francisco, an earthquake happens. Now,
right.
What's going through your head? Were you thinking that, okay, we're not going to play the rest of the series and maybe I'm just cursed here? I can't win a World Series? I mean, God doesn't want me to win. There's like an earthquake going on. I mean, how stressful was that?
Well, the accurate thing, Artie, is that it was not, it was I, it was we. What were we? Are we going to be cheated out of this chance to finish this thing off? It was about team, and we really had a real easy way to explain it, because they were trying to drop the guilt trip on us. They because of the loss of property and loss of life, this thing should be canceled.
Right.
And then we looked around, and they were playing college football, they were playing pro football. Stage plays, comedians. I mean, everybody was entertaining. Everybody's going about the business, but we were supposed to call off baseball, and we all said, "Wait a minute, time out. I mean, this is not right." In fact, most people agree that because of the World Series and the 5 o'clock start, there were a heck of a lot less people on the Bay Bridge, and we probably saved some lives. So we just felt like, with proper respect and a period of mourning, we were hoping and we expected that at some point to get resumed, and then our challenge. And believe me, I was worried, because that's what they pay you to do, is worry. Our challenge was to maintain that middle edge, because that team was so talented, but they were, a coach's dream was to peak at the championship moment, and that team was peaking at that time. I think it was one of the great teams of all time.
Oh, I definitely agree with you. And don't you think that it makes a community sadder if their team's in the World Series and they don't play? I think, it's such a, the national pastime. It's baseball. If something forces you not to play, I think it makes people more depressed, right?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. And that was one of the arguments that I think was very forceful. If you want to respect and honor, this really a tragedy. One of the things you have to understand is that, life doesn't stop. It goes on. It has to go on for all of us.
Right.
I mean, this is something we all go through on a much less dramatic basis, right? Well, how do you go on? You don't go on by calling things off unless you call everything off.
Right. And
you can't do that because, you just got to keep your life together and got to tough it out. So if we had taken that World Series away from the Giants and the Cardinals, I'm sorry, A's, it would have been the opposite message of what would be healthy for the communities.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to say a name to you, and you tell me the first thing that pops into your mind, what you think of this guy. Jose Canseco. What do you think of Jose Canseco?
First thing?
Yeah.
One of the most talented players ever in our uniform, and one of the most intelligent with equals talent and intelligence, a ceiling that would have been sky high. And unfortunately, for a young guy, money, security and money distracted him, and he couldn't recover. And when he tried to recover, then his body betrayed him.
When is the first time you ever heard of steroids, Tone? When was the first time you ever heard that word?
Well, you talk about steroids. The first time I heard about it was with weightlifters and football players.
Right.
If you talk about it in baseball, really didn't hear about it until Caminetti talked about it. And one of the things that's kind of fallen by the wayside, Artie, when people try to, rush to judgment here and start condemning left and right and across ways. In the early days, I'm talking about the 80s and early 90s, there was a lot of weight training going on, but there was a substance called creatine.
Right.
That was and is legal. And that was at the heart of the programs that people were using to enhance their workouts, because you recover quickly, and it was so they put it into shakes. And the big kidding then was that, before you pack your bets, you pack the blender so that you'd have the creatine.
Right.
And a lot of us saw these gains because of creatine. Now, at some point in the early 90s, it lost its importance to us because it proved to dehydrate you and you were getting hamstring pulls. So it wasn't apparent to us, when steroids was really an issue until Caminetti spoke up, and then later on Jose spoke up. But definitely it did become an issue, and it's a black mark in our history.
Do you think Mark McGwire should be in the Hall of Fame?
I think Mark McGwire should be judged like everybody else of that era. And what I see happening a lot is there's a couple of three poster boys like Barry and Roger and Mark, and you're not evaluating or judging everybody according to the same set of criteria. And I say that if you say that steroids is a Hall of Fame killer, then you don't put anybody in that used it.
Right.
And I think singling guys out for whatever your agenda is unfair. In my opinion, Mark is a Hall of Famer, and just like others during that era that strayed and tried to improve their performance, and I just put an asterisk, and that's the way I would handle it.